Hello, this is Rod, Live Within Your Means. Hey, I bought some great big pork roast today, and I've peeled some trombone squash, got that in a pot with some that I already browned up, but I want to show you how to brown a roast, because I've got the rest of this roast. I got a big old fork here. We're going to take this roast, and I've got a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Oh, excuse me. So I've got a little bit of olive oil in here, and I'm going to put a little bit more. And my mother told me to, brown roast before putting them in the oven, because then they're going to taste a little better. And I've already put a bunch of onions in this pot here where I already browned about a third of that roast. This is a big shoulder butt roast with the bone in. So now I'm got that hot oil in there, and I've got this remaining. It's about 4 or 5 pounds worth of roast. And we're going to put that in, brown out on each side. So we're going to be flipping that around here. I don't like all the oil splashing everywhere, so I'm going to put the lid on here while this browns a little bit on one side. And this ends up making it taste a lot better. Meanwhile, while that's browning a little bit on one side, I'm going to cut up the rest of this trombone squash here. And what I'm doing is I'm just peeling it. Now, since it's going in with the meat, I don't really care if it gets a little bit of the pork stuff from cutting up the roast here on this board on it. That doesn't matter. So anyway, peel up this roast. I'm showing that okay? Yeah. Peeling this trombone squash. So I'll get this all peeled up, because I'm cooking a big Sunday meal for my family tomorrow. Plus I'm cooking a lot of this roast to eat during the week. Now I'm doing this, and what I'm going to do is jump back over here, because we're going to flip this roast around. Look at that. Nice and browned on one side there. Jump back over here and work on this a little bit more. And you don't have to peel these trombone squash. The skin get pretty tender, but they get a little dirty looking sometimes, and so it's just nice to peel these up and cut these into pieces to go in with the roast. And I'm not going to put all this in. I am going to put all the roast, both pieces, with some of this trombone squash and a bunch of onion that I put in there. And I'm going to put that all in the pan. It's going to go in the oven, and it's going to slow cook for the next 3 or 4 hours. And that way it'll be really nice and tender. So we're going to jump back over here. We're going to flip this again, because we're browning different sides of it. There we go. So while you're browning a roast, you can get other things done. And like I said, I'm cutting up this trombone squash. It was a big one, or a fairly big one. Not a real big one. And I'm going to cut this up and cut these in pieces. And a lot of this stuff's going to go in the pan with the rest of it tomorrow. So, because that pan's only going to hold so much, and I don't want this turning into total mush, this trombone squash. And this is kind of sweet, a little bit like a butternut. And so we're going to go back over here again. I'm going to turn that heat down now. I just turned the heat down right over there. Kind of hard to show you everything. But I want to flip this around and brown as many sides to this roast as I can. And that's just going to get it tasting a lot better. Then I'm going to be throwing it in this pan here, or I should say dumping the rest of that into this pan and putting it in the oven. So at this point, because I'm going to be cooking that, whoa, a little bit of smoke coming off of there, huh? See if I can point that up the way I want it to point. Maybe, maybe not. Like I say, I'm not a professional videographer, but we're turning this oven on over here, and I'm going to turn that up to about 325. And that way, I'm going to be letting that cook for several hours, you know, for 3 or 4 hours. And I'm going to show this again because I'm going to flip it over to another side of this. Now this is a cast iron kettle, and so it's pretty hot. And I turned the heat off on it. It'll continue to stay hot while I finish browning this. Let's see which side of that we can brown now. So this will be an absolutely delicious roast tomorrow. And the truth is, we're going to eat part of it tonight, my wife and I, for dinner. And then this big one that's in here, that's what'll be really tender, where you can just peel it off the bones for tomorrow's Sunday dinner with my parents and my brother. And so all of this stuff in this other pan here is going to be dumped in that as soon as I get one more end of this roast a little bit brown, and that's this end right here if I can. It's not a big flat end the way I've cut that up. So there we go. See if I can get, there we go. Alrighty. So as this oven's heating up, that's getting a little bit more brown. Got a whole bunch of cut up onions and trombone squash right here. And they're going to go in with this guy. They're going to go on top, and this thing's going to be on the bottom. So there's that. Here goes the rest of this, including this other great big piece of roast. Hopefully that's all going to squish in there just fine. There we go. Yep, we got a pretty full pan. That's why I wasn't going to put all that trombone squash in at the same time. So these have been put in with a little bit of oil in the pan before I did this great big roast. And then I've got some rub here. And this is just a mix that I've made up with onion powder, paprika, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. And it's just my own mixture. So, got a little bit of water in here. I might add a little bit more just so that this doesn't run out of water. I've probably got about 1.5 quarts of water in there. I think it's going to be plenty myself. I want to get this thing tucked in there nicely. And it's 2:19, so let's say around 6 o'clock we're going to have some of this for dinner, and it's going to be good. So we'll put that in the oven. Both of those are browned now, and I purposely, you know, left a big one and cut that's got bone in, and that smaller one for, I'm going to have to move a shelf here because it's got that handle on the top of this pan. So let's see, that's down on the lower one. We'll put this up here on near the top, and that probably ought to fit in here. Okay, let's see. Yep, there we go. All right, so that'll be cooking in there for the next, about 3 hours, 40 minutes, till around 6 o'clock, and then I'll pull it out, and we're gonna have a really good dinner. And then I'll be cooking up the rest of this trombone squash, maybe with some potatoes for tomorrow afternoon's dinner. I'll wash this pan out, put the trombone squash in that, put that in the fridge. So anyway, we've got a great big pork roast for dinner. So this is Rod, and by the way, please comment, put your comments below. You probably have a better way of doing things, and that's just fine. And look at some of my other videos, and we'll teach you how to do things and save some money. I'm Rod, I'm 60 years old, been living within my means all my life, and I recommend that that's what you do. Live within your means, and it'll help you in lots of ways in your life to eliminate some of the stresses. There's plenty of stress in life without having extra stress because of finances. So this is Rod. Live within your means and have a wonderful day.